Welcome back to Mythic Abyss. This is the channel where myths become real and monsters get the respect they deserve. Last week we went to Scotland to meet the Nukkalavi, a skinless sea demon that breathes plague. Tonight we're going somewhere colder, much colder. We're heading to the bottom of the world, to the southern ocean surrounding Antarctica, where Japanese research crews have reported encounters with something that has no explanation. The Ningen first surfaced, not from the ocean, but from the internet. In 2002, posts began appearing on the Japanese forum to channel, written by crew members of government-funded Antarctic research vessels. They described seeing a massive humanoid shape in the water near their ships. White dot, featureless dot, approximately 60 feet long, shaped unmistakably like a human being, with what appeared to be arms, legs, and a torso, but no discernible face. Just smooth, pale flesh where a face should be. The posts were anonymous, as is standard on 2channel, but they were detailed and consistent. Multiple posters, claiming to be from different vessels operating in different years, described essentially the same thing. A white humanoid shape, enormous in size, moving slowly beneath or alongside the ship. The creature appeared primarily at night, in the perpetual twilight of the Antarctic summer, when the low sun creates strange lighting conditions on the water's surface. The Japanese media picked up the story. The paranormal magazine Mu ran a feature on the Ningen, complete with artist renderings that became iconic. The name itself, Ningen, simply means human in Japanese, a name that captures the creature's most disturbing quality. It looks like us, but wrong. Scaled up to impossible proportions and stripped of every detail that makes a human face recognizable. It is humanity reflected in a dark mirror. The scientific explanations for the Ningen are varied, and none are fully satisfying. The most common is misidentification of known marine life. The Southern Ocean is home to some of the largest creatures on Earth, including blue whales, fin whales, and giant squid. An albino whale, seen partially submerged in poor lighting conditions, could theoretically be mistaken for a humanoid shape. The elongated body of a whale, with its flippers extended, might create the impression of arms. Others have suggested that the Ningen sightings are actually large pieces of Antarctic ice. Icebergs and ice floes can take unusual shapes as they melt and refreeze, and underwater ice formations can appear to move as currents shift them. A piece of ice shaped roughly like a human body, seen through murky Antarctic water at twilight, might fool even an experienced sailor. A more creative explanation involves giant underwater sea slugs or unknown species of deep-sea organisms. The Southern Ocean is one of the least explored marine environments on Earth, and new species are discovered there regularly. The deep waters surrounding Antarctica contain ecosystems that we have barely begun to catalog. It is not impossible that a large, pale, soft-bodied organism exists there that has not yet been formally identified. But none of these explanations account for the humanoid shape that every witness consistently describes. Not whale, dash-shaped, not ice-shaped, human-shaped. Arms, legs, a torso. A head with no face. This specific detail, the facelessness, appears in every account and is what separates the Ningen from typical sea monster sightings. The Ningen also appeared on Google Earth. In 2007, users spotted what appeared to be a large white humanoid shape in the ocean near Antarctica using satellite imagery. The image went viral on Japanese and international forums. Google Earth analysts suggested it was likely an ice formation or a digital artifact, but the timing coincided with renewed interest in the Ningen legend, and many believers considered it confirmation. What makes the Ningen culturally significant is that it is one of the first cryptids born entirely on the internet. Unlike the Wendigo, which has thousands of years of oral tradition, or the Yeti, which has centuries of Sherpa testimony, the Ningen has no pre-digital history. It was created, spread, and mythologized entirely through online forums, blogs, and social media. It is a 21st century monster for a 21st century world. This digital origin raises profound questions about the nature of mythology itself. We tend to think of myths as ancient, as products of campfire storytelling and oral tradition. But the Ningen proves that the human impulse to create monsters is alive and well in the digital age. Anonymous forum posts have replaced campfire stories. Google Earth has replaced the explorer's journal. And the vast, unexplored Antarctic Ocean has replaced the dark forest as the blank space on the map where monsters live. The Ningen also reflects a specifically Japanese cultural anxiety. Japan has a deep and complicated relationship with the Antarctic, maintaining research stations and whaling operations in the Southern Ocean for decades. The Ningen emerged from the crews of these vessels. Men who spent months in the most isolated, inhospitable ocean on Earth. The psychological effects of prolonged Antarctic deployment are well documented. Disorientation, hallucination, and a persistent feeling of being watched by something in the water. In this context, the Ningen may be less a creature and more a collective psychological experience given form. The Southern Ocean is so vast, so empty, so devoid of the visual landmarks that human brains use to orient themselves, that the mind begins to create patterns where none exist. A faceless humanoid in the water may be the brain's attempt to find something familiar in an environment that is profoundly, terrifyingly unfamiliar. But that explanation doesn't make the Ningen less real, it makes it more real. Because it means the Ningen isn't just a story, it is a window into what happens to the human mind when it is pushed to the edge of the known world and forced to stare into the void. So here's what I want you to think about tonight. Right now, somewhere in the Southern Ocean, a research vessel is cutting through black water beneath a sky that never fully darkens. The crew is exhausted. The ocean is empty in every direction. There is nothing to see but water and ice for 1,000 miles. And somewhere beneath that water, at a depth that no human eye can reach, something is moving. Maybe it's a whale, maybe it's ice, maybe it's a trick of the light, or maybe it's a 60-foot shape that looks exactly like you, but with no face, drifting silently through the coldest ocean on Earth. The Ningen doesn't need to be real to be important. It needs to be possible. And in an ocean that we've explored less than the surface of the moon, possibility is the only thing we have in abundance. Here's tonight's question. The Ningen was born on the internet, created by anonymous posts on a Japanese forum. If mythology can be born digitally, does that make it less legitimate than mythology born around a campfire 10,000 years ago? Or does the method of creation not matter, only the power of the story? Tell me in the comments. This question matters more than you think. 4 episodes in, we've gone from the frozen forests of North America to the spider caves of Japan, to the plague coasts of Scotland, to the Antarctic Abyss. And we're just getting started. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't. Share it with someone who thinks the ocean has been fully explored. It hasn't, not even close. Next week, we're going to Japan and China to meet the Baku, a creature that eats nightmares. Literally devours them while you sleep. But be careful what you wish for, because if the Baku gets too hungry, it doesn't just eat your nightmares, it eats your dreams, all of them. And you wake up with nothing. This is Mythic Abyss. Legends. They don't want you to know.